Okay, so we're finding the surface area and volume of this triangular prism, and the first slide I'm going to do here, we're going to find the surface area, okay? So when we find the surface area, what we need to do is, for the total surface area, we need to pick a good color here. For the total surface area, we need to take the perimeter. And by the way, when they say perimeter, you could say perimeter of what? We're always talking about the perimeter of the base. The base in this is this triangle. How do you know what the base is? It's not what it's sitting on. You can see that it's not sitting on this base. Okay, it's the side that has an exact same side opposite it, parallel to it, over on the other side, right? And then the sides are going at 90-degree angles like this, okay? So all of the sides are rectangles except for the bases, which can be any particular shape, geometric shape, and it's the same on both sides, okay? So what we need to do is find the perimeter of this times the height of the prism. The height of the prism is different than the height of the triangle. The height of the prism is this length, okay? From base to the other matching base, okay? Versus height of the triangle, which is the height of the triangle. That's different, okay? So when they're saying P, perimeter, times H, height, they're looking for the lateral area, okay? So we're going to add to that the area of the base. Now you're going to see it written as B, which is just whatever the base happens to be. You use the formula for that particular base. But we have a particular formula for a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. Okay? So let's do it. Well, in order for us to do this, you'll see that we can't actually list the perimeter because, well, yet, because we don't know what this length is. Now, don't be mistaken and say that this is 8 because these marks say that they're the same as each other, but it doesn't say that they're the same as this. This doesn't also have that mark. So these are not 8. In fact, we can figure out what they are because look at what we have. Okay, watch this. We've got this height right here in green. Okay, and I'm going to draw that over here. We've got half of the base right here, and if the base, and by the way, let me write the numbers in. This is 3 centimeters, okay? And then half of the base down here. The reason that I'm doing that is because that way we'll then have a right angle there, okay? So we've got a right angle there. And what's that measurement? Well, half of 8 centimeters is 4 centimeters. Remember, this stuff is not to scale, so don't worry that the green side looks like it's longer than the blue side. It doesn't matter what it looks like, okay? And what we're trying to find is this length right here because that's part of the perimeter of the triangle in orange, okay? So how do we find it? Well, we can do the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and I can write it as 3 squared plus 4 squared equals, and let's say c squared, or we can square root both sides, and we can then just get c is equal to the square root of that. Now, we could solve that, sure. And if you did, you would find out that the measurement is 5. But I don't need to solve it to know that it's 5 because look at what our numbers are. The two shorter numbers, the legs, are the 3 and the 4 of a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, Pythagorean triple. If you learn that, then your life's so much easier. Okay? So we found that this side is 5 centimeters. And that's the same, so that's 5 centimeters as well. Okay? So we use the Pythagorean theorem, setting it up, and we see it's a 3, 4, in this case 5. All the problems won't be like that, but this one is. So you don't need to actually do this calculation up top. Although if you did, it would result in 5. But I don't need to, so I'm not going to, because I know the Pythagorean triple, and you should learn it too. Now we have the perimeter. We have 8. And actually, let me get rid of these marks here because we don't need these anymore. Okay. Now, as a perimeter, we've got 8, 5, and 5. So the sum of that is 18. So we can then say, okay, then we've got 18 times the height. And the height, remember, we're finding this first part, P times H, is finding the lateral area, means the height of this. whole prism. So the height of that is 12. So we fill in 12. Okay, plus 1/2. Now we're finding the surface area of this one triangle. And actually, I forgot something here. I left something out. And let me erase it and move it over, because actually we have the base twice. We have this base here, and then we also have this base here. We'll have it twice. So watch what we can do. We can say, I wrote plus the base, but I should have written 2b, right? Twice the base. And then, of course, the particular formula for this base is 1/2 base times height. Okay, so let me get rid of this and put a 2 down there. But actually, I'm not even going to. I'm not even going to put that 2 down there and then write 1/2 right after it, because what is 2 times 1/2? Okay, if you say 2.5, no, you're not thinking about this. 2 halves. You have a half, you have that amount twice. 2 halves make a whole. So that means 1. So that's 1 times base times height. So it's really just base times height. These two will turn into 1 when you multiply them. And then that's like canceling them out. Okay. So now we're doing the triangle. The base of the triangle is 8 times the height of the triangle is 3. And now when we calculate this through, we get 18 times 12. And 18 times 12, let's see, 216. Plus 8 times 3 is 24. And 216 plus 24 is 240. And since it's surface area, it's going to be units squared. So the total surface area is 240 centimeters squared. And I'm going to box that. And that one's done. Okay, this one we had to calculate something. It took a couple minutes. Okay, so we've got the exact same thing here, but now we're finding the volume. So what we need to do for the volume, we've got the volume is equal to the area of the base times the height of the prism. But we have a particular formula for the area of this base, which is 1/2 base times height of the triangle, right? So we say 1/2 base times height times, and maybe I'll make this one a big H, because this H and that H are different. It's not H squared. There's two different values for H. This H is the height of this, and this H is the height of the triangle that we're finding the area of the base for, okay? So we say 1/2, what is the base of this triangle? The base of it is 8. 1/2 times 8 times, what's the height of the triangle? It is 3, times the height of the prism is 12. Okay, and when we calculate this through, we get 144 for the volume. And what are the units? Well, the units were centimeters, and volume is cubed, so we get centimeters cubed. Okay, for your test, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to get, in this case, a triangular prism, and you're going to have to find both surface area and volume. So if you, for example, found the area of this triangle on one of the formulas, or on the first one that you did, you're going to need it for the second one, so you can use that same number. The trick is just, if you mess it up on one, it's going to be wrong on both. So make sure that you do these right. But I know that you're trying to do that anyway. So yeah, there you go. That's how you do it.